Women in tech, women in the financial world, women in investing. Yes, it's improving every day, but we still have a lot to catch up on. And that is exactly what we're going to be discussing today with not one, but two Dipikas. I've got Dipika Jaikishan, the co-founder of Basis. Her product, her startup is primarily for women to enter personal finance and, the financialization of their savings, as well as Dipika Prithviraj, the director at LetsVenture. Welcome to both the Dipikas. Dipika Prithviraj, I'm going to begin with you. LetsVenture recently, flagged off how the numbers were so abysmal when it came to women and angel investing. So you start the context of the discussion. Take us through it right now. How bad is it and how are you hoping to fix it?
Great. Thank you so much, Netra, for this. I've been in LetsVenture over the last 5-6 years now, and much more in the ecosystem. And I have seen how the ecosystem has evolved and grown, and we are seeing a lot more women being participant and investing into startup communities and taking on an active seat as compared to the men that were there previously. So just to give a little bit of context to the audience, LetsVenture is just organizing the private market by connecting startups and investors. So today we have more than 10,000 investors from 60 countries. And earlier, a few years ago, we used to see the numbers as low as just a handful of women investors wanting to participate or at least look into the private market space. But we have actively taken on an initiative called the Women Investing WIN program, where we are targeting, and our goal was to have at least 100 women investors, create that entire club and create that ecosystem in India. We have reached a target. We've had more than 100 women investors who wanted to look into this space. And we've seen in the last 3 months itself on our platform, there are more than 200 women investors who are actively showing interest in it.
Okay, so that's how it's improving. Now, angel investing is, of course, it should be maybe the last thing to do, right? Because it's just so tricky, it can go so wrong. It's just the way startups work. So with that, I'll come to the other Dipika now. Dipika, your product is for women. You're simplifying the financial jargon for them. You're trying to empower them so that, they have money in the bank. They know what to do with that as well. And just the financializations of their savings. A women-only product, how's it working?
It's working great, Nandara. We have over 120,000 women on our platform, and these are urban, millennial, and Gen Z women. We've seen a ton of interest from very young girls right out of college who are in amazing jobs, but guess what? Nobody talked to them about how do you go about your savings and investments before this, right? Or created a community or a space or a platform where you feel, unfortunately, even financial services, for whatever reason, haven't made women feel comfortable or safe to even discuss this stuff. And with Basis, we've been changing that. And even while, and alluding to your point where you were talking about angel investing, right? Unfortunately, I think so often we see this, especially with Basis, obviously, that women haven't even scratched the surface with traditional investments. Have mostly stuck with FDs. If we're talking about capital market investments, only about 24% of stock market investors are women. And this is also probably a highly inflated number. So yeah, we've just been working on changing that narrative, bringing more women into the investment ecosystem, making them aware about credit, etc., to just enhance everything that they can do with their money.
So tell me something. And you'll be one of the best people to tell us this. Dipika, I don't want to when at Basis, have you done any kind of number crunching to know what the numbers are looking like when it comes to women in the financial markets?
Yeah, like the one I just mentioned. So about 20, and these are outside of just numbers we've come up with, or we pulled out from our community and users. A CDSL declared number is that only 24% of stock market investors are women. Most fintech platforms, only 20% of their users are women. And this was a DSP survey, only 12% women make their own financial decisions. And if I just talk about the capital markets itself, that's probably a highly inflated number. because for the most part, those accounts are managed by husbands or fathers or brothers, right? So if we're talking about women in the investment ecosystem itself, that's a very, very low number.
And therefore, Deepika Prithviraj, it shouldn't come as a surprise, right, that in angel investing, when you guys started your women-only cohort and things like that, less than 1% were angel investors, because that's the more sophisticated one, that's the more risky one, and you know, the last asset class a person would perhaps dabble in. They've already done FD and mutual funds, stock markets before they would dream of angel investing.
So one of the things that we have seen is that the people who are signing up to our programs and want to invest into this active community is because they are people who have come from 10 plus years of work experience. They've been star walkers in their own stalwarts in their own sectors. And they're not just looking at angel investing purely out of a financial perspective or to diversify their investments. They're also looking in terms of how they can build this community, how they can work with other founders from the sectors, how they can help them out, coach them, mentor them. So they are looking at this entire space beyond just financial gains and investments itself.
Okay. Now, Deepika Prithviraj, the fact is that, you know, in the last, if you look at 2021 alone, right, you've had, what, more than $40 billion that came in to the country, or was rather raised by startups, right? Every other week, you saw one unicorn being minted. But the participation by women in that is something we need to talk about.
Absolutely, I completely agree on it. One of the things that we are seeing is that when it comes to men founders and entering the unicorn club, it is very easy because their network is also built accordingly. But when it comes to women, somewhere that network does not exist as such. So we are not just enabling the women to look and diversify and come into angel investing and or even founders in that sense, but we are also helping them create that community. So we are saying that we are going to be there in assisting you, not just raising your rounds, but also mentoring you, guiding you, helping you raise your future rounds in terms of any advisors you need, any connections that is required. The number is low, but I think after the whole Nika went IPO, it's giving women founders a lot more confidence. At LetsVenture, we have some great startups that we have helped fundraise that are all women founders, either completely women founders, or at least 50% of them are women founders. And we are seeing those companies do extremely well. We've done deals like Animal, we've done Thinkerbell, which are women-led founders. And we've seen the growth of these companies. It is going to take a little bit more time for these startups to enter the unicorn club. But we are here to provide the support and create that entire community for them for growth.
Dipika Jaikishan, you know, you're building a women-only product, and the idea, of course, is, you know, the larger goal being that why shouldn't they be part of the ecosystem? You know, look at the math when it comes to population as well. How do you specifically reach out to them? Because, you know, like you said yourself, in most cases, unfortunately, the household finances are not controlled by her.
Yeah, so for us, Nayantara, like I was talking about this earlier, who we are catering to, at least for now, is the urban millennial and Gen Z woman, right? So she is, for now, either she's in college or she's a part of an existing community or she's working at a corporate. So we approach it from these two. These are three of our approaches. Outside of this, if we're talking about where she's spending her time on social media even, right? So for the most part, for whatever time she has in the day, she's probably spending it on certain social media platforms, spending 15, 20 minutes trying to, know more about her money, trying to find solutions around it, which is also slightly problematic, which has brought this whole influx of influencers, right, who are trying to do the right thing, but they may not be giving the right information, especially when it comes to your money and investment decisions. And what's also happening because of this lack of awareness is the fact that these women are less feeling left out or a ton of FOMO that, hey, I don't know about this. Somebody's talking about, investing in crypto. Somebody's talking about angel investing. Somebody's talking about something that I've not done before. And I'm hearing my friends do it. I'm hearing my male counterparts do it. And I'm not sure how to approach it. And just out of FOMO, wanting to dabble into things that she may not fully understand. So I think for us, being on these platforms, being in these places has been super critical in building this community and building this base of users that we've built until now.
Okay, now you've said right up, right, that 65% of women in India do not use financial services, Dipika Jaikishan. But, okay, the 35% that do, is there any study or analysis on how well they're doing?
So I don't have the numbers offhand, Nantara, but I think, yeah, historically, women have proven to be better investors because women are a lot more deliberate when it comes to our investments. We are not chasing returns. Any investment decision we make is very, very objective led, right? Like Deepika was talking about this as well, right? Like women who are investing, angel investing, they're a lot more deliberate. They're doing it for a reason. They're like she was saying, it's not just looking at investment returns. It's probably wanting to participate in a change, wanting to participate in a business that makes sense to them, right? Women have proven to be much better investors. In fact, there's a book, and then we keep recommending people to read it, which goes Warren Buffett Invests Like a Girl. And as sexist as the title might sound, I think every woman should give it a read, where it, the so-claimed best investor in the world probably invests the way a woman would approach her investment. So even if we talk about one part of it is just investing, the other part of it is credit, right? And there's this whole rise of buy now, pay later. There's this whole rise of credit cards. Again, women's participation there is also low, where if you just get into the numbers, women have much better credit histories. Women are much better borrowers than men, and not enough has been done to really make them participate more in decisions and make them even aware that, hey, you know what, you're actually slightly better than him or much better than him when it comes to your investments or credit history even.
Can I put Deepika Prithviraj in a spot and has she seen that women founders do better than male founders? That's, of course, I'm talking flippantly right now.
I don't think there is anything different when a male founder is either raising funds or running his business versus a woman founder. There is absolutely nothing different over there. We have seen women founders to be equally aggressive. They do have what it takes to bring their company grow leaps and bounds. So we do not see much of a difference over there.
Yeah, I was just asking that on a lighter note. But Dipika Prithviraj, for, how we talk about at a startup, and everybody likes quoting this, and I'm sure even Deepika, the other Deepika does as well, that it's still day zero, it's still day one. A startup is like your baby, it's your life, the number of hours that you have. You have no life outside of a startup, blah, blah, blah. That's very hard if you're, let's say a woman who has to raise kids, who has a young family, has other responsibilities.
Well, I do not quite agree with that as much, because I think these days, or at least the founder communities that we are seeing these founders come up from, the load is equally shared. We have seen many places where it is a husband-wife duo, and they are equally participating in the growth of the company. They are equally participating outside of the growth of the company itself. As much as we would like to add those labels in terms of having to raise children and everything because of the societal norms that comes, I think women are just growing beyond it. They are very good at managing these things. They figured out what it takes, and to them maybe the startup is equally their child, and they are doing what it does require equally as a male counterpart, and they figured it out.
Okay, good to know those things are also changing. And Dipika Jaikishan, you come in here because you're also building a startup while trying to empower women and trying to get them to invest. We've been saying for a while, a woman has many more glass ceilings to shatter, meetings with investors, or just, managing personal life, family life with work life.
So I think, Nandara, and I can speak with our most recent example, at least at Basis, right? My co-founder had a baby 3 months ago. She was pregnant through our fundraise conversations right up until the last day. And she's been back to work for the last 1 month, right? And yeah, I'm sure it's hard, but it's not impossible. And I know there's one part of being in a startup or running a startup that glorifies the hustle. But I think for a lot of us building businesses, it doesn't feel like a hustle, It's not like we're fighting against, not all of us are fighting the odds, not all of us are fighting systems at home. I think a lot of us are lucky, are privileged to have very supportive ecosystems, supportive partners, and that gives you the liberty, that gives you the freedom to come back to like work as soon as you want to, right? It's not even as soon as you can, as soon as you need to, because we know typically say a pregnancy break is 6 months, but if that's something you can handle even before that 6 months and get back to running your business, nobody's stopping you from doing that. I think also when we talk about women and running startups, and not just startups, right? Even in a normal salary job, where we, for the longest time, we've talked about problems, right? Women need to shatter glass ceilings, women need to do X, Y, Z. But I think it's time that these conversations move to a more solution-focused approach than just talking about the problems, because we're probably not going to move forward in leaps if we're not talking about solutions or probably talking to women. Figure this out. I'm sure this is true for men as well. Nobody has this 100% figured out, right? But yeah, you figure out what works for you, what doesn't work for you, and you make it work. So I think we should talk about conversations where women are making things work, where women are figuring out, where they're trying to, and balance is not impossible. It's hard for sure, 100%, but it's not impossible. It's also prioritizing, right? Maybe I'm probably at a place of privilege to talk about it. I'm sure it's a lot harder for a lot other women, but yeah, I think support systems and like LetsVenture is doing, you're creating a community or creating a system where you're not just talking about investments, you're talking about even like solutions. I think that's super critical.
Oh, absolutely. And it is going to be imperative that we get this all figured out if we really are dreaming of being the economic powerhouse that India deserves to be. And this is India's decade. With that, I'd like to thank both the Dipikas for joining us today on Startup Central.
Thank you.